Following psychiatric evaluations, a leading medical expert placed the suspect in what he called the absolute top 1% of dangerousness. It is the same man who, according to a former cellmate, once asked if a child's DNA could be retrieved from bones buried deep underground. On May 3, 2007, in Praia da Luz, Portugal, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann vanished from her bed in apartment 5A. Her disappearance triggered a global search that has lasted nearly 2 decades, leaving her family in a state of unresolved grief. The focus of that investigation eventually shifted to Christian Brückner, a convicted sex offender and drifter, who lived less than 2 kilometers from the resort at the time of the kidnapping. Investigators face a clinical profile that aligns with the crime in nearly every dimension, existing alongside a total absence of physical proof. Praia da Luz is an open resort, entirely integrated into the surrounding town with no gates or barriers to prevent movement. The geographic window was small. The McCanns dined just 55 meters from the apartment, checking on their children at intervals. Telecommunications data adds a critical layer. Brückner's phone was logged in and active near the resort during that time frame. Brückner left Portugal shortly after the disappearance. Years later, a search of his property uncovered USB drives filled with child abuse material, hidden in a hole beneath his deceased dog. In forensic psychology, this habit of burying and hoarding digital evidence often correlates with deep-seated obsessions and a sustained need for control over victims. Brückner's criminal record follows a trajectory of escalation. Convicted of child abuse in Germany as a teenager in 1994, he fled to Portugal the following year to avoid serving a youth custody sentence. He lived in the Algarve as a transient, funding his life through burglaries. He targeted tourist flats specifically, often breaking in while the occupants were sleeping inside. By 2005, his crimes became more violent. 2 years before Madeleine vanished, Brückner raped a 72-year-old American woman in Praia da Luz, an assault he recorded on video. This history links his experience with nocturnal break-ins to sexual assault, demonstrating his ability to pivot from property crime to physical violence. From a behavioral standpoint, he viewed sleeping tourists not as a risk of discovery, but as easy targets for a predator who lacked all empathy. His private communications offer a look at his internal desires. In a 2013 Skype check, he wrote of his wish to, quote, capture something small and use it for days. This provides a possible motive for 2007. A burglar with predatory fantasies enters an apartment looking for valuables, but changes his objective upon finding a child. Operation Grange spent a decade reviewing thousands of data points and witnesses, leading German authorities to formally name Brückner as the prime suspect in 2020. Police focused on his high-value assets, including a dark Jaguar XJR6 he owned in Portugal that was seized for forensic analysis. During his unrelated 2024 trial, his demeanor was notable. He passively observed the proceedings without speaking, showing a detachment often seen in psychopathic personalities. While behavioral science has provided a detailed look at his history and tendencies, the investigation remains stalled at the border of legal proof. In October 2024, a German court acquitted Brückner of 5 unrelated sexual offenses, citing witness testimony that was deemed too unreliable for a conviction. This illustrates the current deadlock. German prosecutors treat the McCann case as a murder inquiry, while the UK's Metropolitan Police continue to categorize it as a missing person investigation. In September 2025, Brückner was released from prison. He now wears an electronic ankle monitor and lives under strict probationary supervision. Public reaction has been intense. In early 2026, authorities had to relocate him from a tent in the woods to a new town after local protests made his presence untenable. When a detailed behavioral profile meets a complete forensic void, the legal system reaches its limit. It leaves the public to coexist with a man evaluated as one of the most dangerous